How's it going, everyone? My name is Earlmeister, and today I'm gonna show you guys some footage and some gameplay from the Spartan build that I posted before the launch of New World. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking if there's some footage for it and all that stuff. So I've recorded a ton. I will try to show as much as I can in the video, but I want to also talk about the things that I've noticed about the build, its weaknesses, its strength, adaptation, things that you can do during a fight, both solo PvP and group PvP and stuff like that. So let's get into it. Before we get into it, some of you guys are probably wondering, what the hell is this build? So click the link below. I added the Spartan build over there if you guys are wondering what it is. If you want more depth into the build, how it works, what's its strength and weaknesses and stuff like that, and how to do the combo to maximize your damage and things like that. So before we move forward to the video, I also want you guys to know that from medium armor I switch all the way to heavy armor, and you guys will see why. It's just that it's not worth running the medium for me, because I tend to catch myself playing so aggressive. I'm always in the front line, you know, and when I'm wearing medium, I am so fragile compared to being heavy. That 10% extra damage, it's not worth it at all. The value that you get from heavy armor, being able to attack as much as you want, dish out damage, yes, it's 10% damage lower, but if you're wearing medium and you have that extra 10% damage and you're not attacking anyways, it has no value. And when you're dying so much, it has no value, you know, compared to having heavy armor, and you can basically survive any type of attacks, especially when you put out your sword and shield and you receive 10% more heals, right? You can just do so much for your team. You can do so much for outpost rush, for wars, even in 1v1 PvP. You will notice that they're not doing any damage to you at all. So like what I said, I moved out of medium armor and went to go full heavy, which is really nice because I get to wear a big ass shield as well, you know, for extra protection. If I need insurance, if I know that I'm taking a lot of damage, I can switch to sword and board, and I can basically put up my shield and receive 10% more healing from my passive. And it's just really nice to wear heavy, because like you can see, right, I'm just playing so aggressive. I'm going in and PvP while the boss is up, you know. I don't take a lot of damage. I can survive during my gear score farming, during PvP as well. It just gives you so much value, because you can get to go in there, you know, deal as much damage as you can, because you're even though you're basically a tank now, you're still doing so much damage because of just the way you were built with your spear, right? You have a lot of empowers, a lot of extra damage with your basic attack. You have a shit ton of crits, you know, because that's basically what the build is. You don't die as much, right? If they focus you, then you can become a tank, and you're tanking for your team. Now, if they decide to not focus you, then you become a deadly assassin with the really beefy gear that makes you just not care about getting poked, and you just do as much damage as you can. You can see there, right? I went in, I perforated a whole grav, right, and apply 30% rend on my enemies, which basically made my teammates melt them, right? It's really nice. It's really nice to have, because like when everyone is getting melted and you're not taking any damage, you're beefy as fuck. You can switch to sword and board, and once you switch to sword and board, you can just put up your shield like what I said. You receive more heals and stuff, and it's the survivability versus the 10% damage that the medium can give you is just too much, right? And also, you can see right here on my 1v1s, you also don't take a lot of damage, and at the same time you get in their head, right? They think that you don't do a lot of damage at all because it looks like you're a tank because they're not doing much damage to you. But then you switch to spear and you basically melt anyone that you fight. So let's talk about my current stats. Like what I said earlier, I'm running full heavy armor, and I have malachite, and all of them. It's just a really nice balance of good physical defense and good magical defense. And on my spear I currently have emerald, because emerald just makes me guaranteed the finishing touch when it comes to killing my opponents. Once they hit 30%, it's gonna be hard for them to heal, because I'm just gonna be dishing a lot of damage, and it guarantees like the finish against my opponents, whether it's 1v1 or 50 versus 50. So right here you can see right now this guy is also has a paladin build, right, that has a lot of heals, and it's hard for you to kill them. A lot of people are complaining that once you can fight against a paladin you basically can't kill them, but with this build it's very doable, because like most paladins don't do a lot of damage, and since you're wearing heavy they can't really melt you down. But with perforate and skewer, it's just so much damage you can melt their faces off, to be honest. Especially if you do your combos properly, right? You get the skewer into rend, into vault kick, which is now keen vault kick, which is basically what I'm wearing, right? You do 65% crit, and at the same time you have that 30% extra damage from empower, and you get the 30% from your ult, the 30% extra damage. And if they're gridded, right, like what you saw, like hatchets and stuff like that has a grit, you do 20% extra damage. You're basically gonna be able to melt anyone in 1v1, you know, unless you get stuck on an ice storm. Like so far that's basically my biggest weakness, is like getting stuck on an ice storm and getting melted by magic damage from fire staff and ice gauntlet, right? Here as well you can see some PvE stuff. This is Lazarus, and this is the part where there's 3 rooms and you all get locked in the room because you have to step on the button to trigger the small event, and basically I'm the one that went solo mode in this part of Lazarus, because like what I said, you are deadly, you do a lot of damage, but you are tanky as fuck, you know. The only downside of this build is like it lacks AoE, like giant AoEs, right? But if you know how to play it, then you will be looking for your teammates' grabs in the war or outpost rush, and you follow up on that, because then you can hit perforate with against multiple enemies. You can hit your skewer against multiple enemies, and then you're gonna start raining crits. And at the same time, don't forget that every time you dodge, right, you get that 20% cooldown, and every time you do 2 basic attacks you get that extra 10%. And basically every time you dodge and you land your skill, you can have unlimited skills, basically with 1 second cooldown for each skill. If you dodge skill, dodge skill, sometimes you gotta do 1 set of light attacks, and basically all your skills are in cooldown. So like what I said, my thing is at 65%. Actually, before we talk about that, let's look at this really quick, because I want to show you guys, like, I'm just being careless here. I'm not landing my spear abilities. I'm not landing my basic attack, you know. It's super bad, but luckily I caught him with a shield bash there, and I got to perforate. Now I have 30% extra damage against him, and he heals, and I don't heal, and I just basically went YOLO because I know that if I have him a half HP and I crit once, he'll be around 30% HP, and I can basically double poke him because I just do so much damage once you're below 30%. And I got really lucky there because I pretty much missed like 60-70% of my skills, and that's really bad. Again, like as you can see over here, right, we'll talk about like how I got my 65% crit in a second here. I just want to talk about this, like look how aggressive I am, right? And I'm not dying because I have heavy armor, I have a sword and board to go back to, and my sword and board as well has AoE skills. They're not wide, but they're crowd control, right? You have the shield rush, you have the shield bash, stunts, knockbacks with weaken on them, right? It's really nice security for you in case your shit doesn't work out with your spear. You can always go back there, or if you get focused, right, you just don't die right away. You can be useful as a tank, like what I said. It's a really nice build because you're basically an off tank. You're a super hard tank, super hard to kill, and at the same time, if they decide to pass by you, you just do so much damage. All right, let's talk about the crit, where I got it from, how I got to 65%, in case you guys are wondering. So basically right now I have the weapon from the faction tokens, right? You get 10% critical damage there, and I have 10% keen awareness with my ring, which gives me another 10%. So right now we're sitting at 20%, and then you have the 5% from your dex. If you have 50 dex, you get 5% crit. That's 25%. And also you have 5% just with having a spear, right? Because the spear gives you 5% crit. So now you're at 30%, and your light attacks basically is at 35% because you have this passive, the very first passive on the impaler tree with your spear, right? So that's 35%. Now if you apply bleed to your enemy or anyone who's bleeding, if you skewer them, that's extra 15%, which bumps you up to 50%, right? I know that's conditional, but let's just say that you land your skewer, now you're at 50%, which is basically really nice already. And if your skewer crits, you get 30% empower, 30% extra damage, which is really nice, right? That's the reason why sometimes I vault kick first before I skewer, because like vault kicks gives me 18%. Right now it's at 15% because I don't have max gear score yet. I don't have a really good armor. Right now my vault kick only gives me 15% instead of 18%, but which basically makes it sit at, if you skewer and then you vault kick, then you're sitting at 65%, or you can do it the other way, which makes it easier. You can vault kick, get that 15%, which basically bumps you to 50%, and then you can skewer, so you can almost guarantee your or you have a higher chance of critting with your skewer, which gives you 30% extra empower, which then you're just melting enemies because you're doing 65% crit chance with your crits, and at the same time you have 30% empower. You're just gonna melt anyone that's in front of you. You can trade blows with them because you can take their damage and you can dish out a lot of damage. And one of the things that I want to remind you guys with this combo, like sometimes because of like PvEing, you know, doing a lot of gear score farming, I tend to I tend to what do you call this, not care about my mechanics anymore, and that really punishes me hard, because you know, the spear requires a lot of mechanics. You need to land your skills in order for you to do good, you know. So try not to be cocky like me. Like sometimes I feel like the power of the sun is in the palm of my hands, you know, like that type of shit. Because I just do a lot of damage with once everything is online, and I feel like I'm uh, I'm a beast once everything is online, and then I forget to look at my HP, and then I forget to dodge as well, you know. Yeah, so just try to keep in mind, like, don't underestimate your opponents, stuff like that, you know. Art of war, basic art of war, don't underestimate your opponents. Always be on top of your skills, you know. And you can easily slip out of it, because like what I said, PvE does that to you, because like you're gonna be gear score farming a lot, and when you're gear score farming, you just want to basic attack or dish out as much damage as you can, because like your basic attack is stronger than your skills with this build, and it's a good thing, right? But just keep that in mind. So right now, all I'm trying to do at the moment is basically farm my gear score, try to get as much gear score as I can, as high as I can, so I can actually get the legendary version of the spear called Javelin of the Dryadic Empowerment. I got one, but it's only epic, which feels bad, because I got really excited, you know. It's missing one perk, because the final version of it will give you so much dexterity, right? And at the same time, it will give you 10% or 11% with keen crit chance, and you basically get 10% vicious, 10% extra crit damage, and then every time you crit, you get empowerment, which is plus 15% damage against your opponent, or with every attack that you do, with every type of damage that you do, which is really nice, you know, because like sometimes you tend to not hit skewer, because like, of course, like, you can't underestimate your opponent's skewer's animation. It's easy to predict. You can dodge it if you're fast enough, right? And if it doesn't crit, like what I said, it feels bad, then you lose the 30% empower. But with the Javelin of Dryadic Empowerment, you get that 15% guaranteed empower every time you land a crit, which is basically more than half of the time, right? Because like once you get your gear score up, then your keen will be much higher, then your keen awareness would be much higher, then your keen vault kit would be much higher, and you're gonna be sitting around 70% crit chance against your opponent, which is very nice. 7 out of your 10 attacks is landing as a crit, and your basic attack is basically stronger than your skills. So before we finish the video, right, I want to talk about sword and board as well, because sword and board is also really nice with the crit build. You're basically sitting at, let's see, 10% from your passive with your sword tree. You have the 3% from the sword itself, and then you have that keen from the sword, right? So now you're 23%. The 10% from the ring, you're at 33%, and then the 5% from the dex, you are at 38%, which is not bad. It's still pretty good chance of critting. So now your board can actually get keenly fortified, I believe is what it's called, which gives you fortify every time you crit, and then on your sword you can just get the keenly empowered or something like that. It's basically 15% damage whenever whenever you crit, right? You get that empower, which is really nice. There's a lot of other keen stuff that you can get. Basically, every time you crit, you get some sort of buff, right? Which I want to talk about as well before we end the video, because there's another build that you can do, right? I think that it's a really good build too. It's a matter of preference, right? Some people would probably prefer this because you have an extra CC, because you can basically get what do you call this? You can basically get sweep instead of skewer, because sweep can also give you bleed, but it's only for 4 seconds. So after you sweep, you coup de grace, and after you do coup de grace or coup de grace, however you wanna pronounce it, you apply bleed for 4 seconds against your opponents, and when you do that, you do 20% extra damage as well, because every opponent that's knocked down, it's extra damage. And you can also get out of perforate if you want, right? You can do sweep, perforate, vault kick, right? Or you can do javelin, sweep, vault kick, because then you can get sundering javelin, I believe is what it's called, and you get 10% rend. Yes, it's not as high as 30% rend, but the beauty of it is you get 2 extra crowd control, which is basically 2 knockdowns, and every time your opponent is knocked down, you get 20% extra damage against them, which is basically, it makes up for the empower that you get from skewer, and it makes up for the rend that you get from perforate. But for me, I prefer the current build that I have, which is skewer, perforate into vault kick. The reason why is I'm a team player, right? I'm not really looking to dish out as the most damage as I can. You know, like javelin is nice for 1v1s, right? And as an assassin, it's nice, but I tend to catch myself always in the very front of the front line. And when I'm there, yeah, sweep is nice, but I like having perforate better, and I just like doing a man-to-man type of stuff, going in front of my opponents. If I can skewer, they're bleeding, and I do 30% more damage because of rend, and I do 30% extra damage from the empower from skewer. It just fits my playstyle. Face to face, I don't have to dodge as much, you know, and all that. It's a barbarian type of playstyle, very Spartan like, you know. And I let my teammates kill them once I applied the 30% perforate rend from the perforate. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys a lot. If you haven't done it yet, make sure to subscribe now or don't ever subscribe again. You can only choose one. Which one are you gonna choose? And also hit that bell button if you can on the way out. But anyways, I hope that this helps you guys get a vision of how the build works, and I hope you guys enjoy it and works out for you as well. So have a good day. Bye now.